Don't move to Salem, Oregon without watching this video first, because today we're going to be walking around a newer construction development here in Southeast Salem that has multi-story homes, single-level living, and best of all, new construction houses that are just over the $400,000 mark. Today, we are walking around the neighborhood of Legacy Heights, located in Southeast Salem, specifically in the Morningside neighborhood. Now, this is a community that first started its development in 2021, and it is continuing to be developed today. So stick around until the end so that you can get a sneak peek of the newest phase going on in this community. This neighborhood does come with its fair share of pros and cons, and we're going to be going over the benefits of living in this neighborhood, but also the negative things about this neighborhood that you really need to be aware of before you move in here. So we're going to walk around, talk about the pros and cons. We're going to then jump in the car and take a tour of the neighborhood in its entirety before we finish things off online and checking out some recently sold homes. If we haven't met yet, my name is Clarity Odd, and I'm a local real estate agent here in Salem who relocated to this area without knowing anything about Salem. Now I make these videos to help my clients avoid making all the mistakes that I did when I relocated here. If you want to hire me to be your real estate agent here in Salem, all you got to do is go down to the description, book a one-on-one consultation with me, and we can hit the ground running. All right, let's get into it. If you're anything like I was 5 years ago, you have no idea where Southeast Salem is located, where Legacy Heights is. So let's pull up a map and see exactly where we are talking about. What we're looking at right now is where I catalog all of my YouTube videos based upon geography and neighborhood. You have access to this free Google map too. It's in the description of any of my videos. But what I'm going to do to find Legacy Heights is uncheck major neighborhoods in Salem, and then what I'm left with is my favorite neighborhoods around town. And this little colorful maroon area right here, this is Legacy Heights, and this is downtown Salem. So that's going to help get you oriented. Now, the cool thing about this map, we're going to jump back into the video in a second, but I want to point out that this is Pringle Creek. I've already made a vlog video of Pringle Creek walking around. If you click on that, it's going to show you all of the videos that I've made of that neighborhood. Once I upload this video, it'll go in the bank as well, and it will be cataloged. So explore this map on your own and start to get yourself acquainted with Salem and where all of your favorite neighborhoods are in relationship to downtown Salem. All right, let's jump into the pros and cons of living in the Legacy Heights neighborhood. So we figured out where exactly Legacy Heights is located. Let's start talking about the cons of living in this neighborhood. The first con is that this neighborhood is located very close to the Salem Airport, which is an airport that has commercial flights. And while it doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of commercial flights, you are going to notice airport noise from the close proximity that this neighborhood has to the Salem Airport. Now, the other part of that is that we have a train that goes alongside the Morningside neighborhood, and it's kind of, I don't know, maybe like a mile away from Legacy Heights. So you can hear that train noise when it's chewing its horn and making all the ruckus that it can. So if noise pollution is something that you're just like, oh, I don't want to hear any airport noises, I don't want to hear any train horns, then this might not be the right neighborhood for you. But if you're okay with those noises blending into the background, then you should probably keep this on your list. Now, the other thing around noise is that this neighborhood is still being constructed. So you are going to have construction sounds going on. This area is close to being finished, but if you move in, don't expect that those noises from the new construction will go away anytime soon. So really, the first con here is that it is a little bit noisier of a neighborhood than some other places around Salem. Con number 2 on our list is that this is an HOA community. Now, the dues are monthly, and they go towards things like maintaining the streets, the lights, and just kind of the general areas. But it is a pretty low HOA fee in comparison to some other communities around town. If you don't like the idea of living in an HOA, this is probably not going to be the right neighborhood for you. But as we walk around this community, I want you to be mindful of what you see the decorations on the houses are, and how do people maintain their yards, because that really speaks volumes about you know, the level of strictness that the HOA may or may not have. The next con on our list is that this community does not have a whole heck of a lot of single level homes. So a lot of my clients on YouTube, they want single level living, and this community has a few, but they don't really come up on the market so often. So if your primary focus is finding a single level detached home, this community might be one that's harder to get into for you, simply because there's not a lot of those houses that exist to begin with. Now, there are a few, and so if we time things right, we could get you into one. But most of the homes are going to be 2-story. And let me just flip this around, because this is a good example of the style and scope of home that you can find here. As you see, all of these houses, they are 2-story houses, and that's the predominant style here in this community. The next con on our list is that these homes are what I would call cookie cutter. They all look very, very similar. Now, this could go on the pro or the con list, just depending on your own personal preferences about, you know, character in homes, or if you maybe like all of the houses to look the same. But I'm putting it on the con list because if you don't like the idea of a cookie cutter home, this neighborhood is just going to be scratched off the list for you, because all of these houses look very, very similar. The other facet to these houses all looking very similar is the fact that because this is a newer community, you don't really have very mature trees and foliage and landscaping. So let me just turn this around and show you a little baby tree that was planted. So this is the little tiny trees that you're gonna see. There are some big oak trees, like that big one in the distance there, that the builders kept. They didn't cut those down. But overall, most of the foliage, it's going to be little baby things because it just hasn't had time to grow yet. So if you like the idea of living in a neighborhood that has ample canopy coverage from the trees, you're really not going to find that here. It's going to be smaller trees, fewer of them, and it's just more open, wide space. As you can tell, the sun is hitting me. There's no shade to be had. And that's just how it is in this neighborhood. The next con on our list comes up a whole heck of a lot with my YouTube clients because you all like to garden, and I totally understand why. A lot of the newer construction homes, they do not have yards. There are only a handful of homes in this community that actually have a backyard. So if your primary focus is finding a house with a backyard that has ample space for you to garden, it's going to be tricky to find that in this neighborhood. It can be done. I just had some YouTube clients who closed on a house in this neighborhood. We got them a backyard, we got them a single level house, but it was like kind of a needle in a haystack scenario. It just was perfect. We found the right one and jumped. Although I don't think needle in a haystack would work for that. I'm gonna say it was like a Goldilocks type house for them. It just popped up and it was magical. All of the stars aligned. But that's really, really rare. So if you like the idea of gardening, having a big garden, this might not be the community for you. And if you're watching this on YouTube or one of my other social media platforms and you're moving and relocating to Salem and you're ready to buy a house, you can hire me to be your real estate agent here in Salem. I focus on working with relocation buyers. That is just my specialty. So if you fall into that category, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can find all of my contact information down in the description below. If those cons that we were just talking about don't bother you, you're like, great, I don't really need that big of a yard, I like the idea of 2-story living, then this neighborhood might be the one for you. And I'm about to talk about the pros of this neighborhood, which are probably going to be the cherry on top for you. So the first pro of living in Legacy Heights is that this is an incredibly convenient community. So Morningside in general, which is like the larger neighborhood where Legacy Heights is located, it's very, very convenient to Interstate 5, to Commercial Street, which is a main thoroughfare here in Salem, to downtown. It just is so convenient to get you anywhere and everywhere that you need to be within the city of Salem, but also anywhere else. And if you're somebody who really needs the Salem airport for work, or you need to jump on Interstate 5 for commuting, this is gonna be so quick and easy for you to get in and out of this neighborhood. It's also really convenient for things like Costco, which is just down the street, Trader Joe's, you've got LifeSource, which is a great grocery store just a few moments away. And if you're thinking like, Clarity, I don't care about those restaurants nearby or those grocery stores nearby, I just need a good spot for my doggo. Well, this is gonna be a great neighborhood for you to launch out into the rest of the areas of Salem that have a lot of great dog parks. Now, the next pro on our list is that this is an incredibly dog-friendly neighborhood. And I know you guys who are watching this, almost all of you guys have dogs. So rest assured that this neighborhood loves dogs. So much so that they need to have a sign like this: no poop and pee zone. Fair enough, right? But you're gonna see people walking their dogs at all times of the day in this neighborhood. Big ones, small ones, everyone seems to have a dog in this neighborhood. So if you've got a fur baby, you're gonna have a lot of little doggy play dates available to you. The next pro on our list here is that there's a lot of variation in regards to the size of home that you can get here. So you can get houses that are anywhere from 1,200 square feet, like this house right here, or you can get houses that are close to the 2,500 square feet mark. And so while there's not a lot of variety in terms of like design styles in this neighborhood, size-wise, there's a lot of variety. The other fantastic pro on our list here is that there are houses in the low $400,000 range, which is basically unheard of. Now, I can't promise by the time that you watch this video that those houses are still gonna be available, but these are the houses that are around the $400,000 mark. Now, one thing to be mindful of is that these houses do not have really much of a front yard, and they don't actually have a backyard. So these houses have alley access only, which means that your garage is on the back of the house, and that's where your potentially like garden and backyard would have been. So you don't have a yard, but what you do have is an affordable new construction house in an incredibly convenient location of town. So that was the pro of like this neighborhood. It is affordable for many of the houses that we see come up for sale. My YouTube clients who typically gravitate towards this neighborhood and move into this neighborhood, they have a budget of over $500,000 or more. Now that's gonna get you a house that's a little bit on the bigger side. You might even have a yard if you're lucky. And then if my clients are wanting something a little bit more economically feasible, we're tending to gravitate towards these new construction houses. So my YouTube clients have kind of a wide range of what they're looking for, but typically their price points are above the $400,000 mark for a smaller home and above the $500,000 mark for a larger home. All right, let's go jump in the car and drive around this neighborhood together. We're driving around. On the right-hand side, those are Lennar constructed homes, totally brand new, and they are the homes that I was talking about earlier that were just over the $400,000 mark. And now we are driving into kind of the older phase of Legacy Heights, which, mind you guys, it's like older as in built in 2021, 22, and 23. So this whole entire community is not very old. The first houses went up in 2021. So if you like the idea of a newer community, this is going to provide you with a lot of newer homes. And what we're seeing right now is that on the right-hand side, these are the Lennar constructed homes. You can see that there's 2-story houses. We are going to have some 1-story houses popping up here shortly, but you guys already know that those are kind of more rare. We're going down this slight little hill. This is a relatively flat area of town. And in this neighborhood, there is just like this little hill that we're driving down, but otherwise it's pretty flat, which is great. Now, I would say that if you're looking at the houses on the left-hand side, those are going to have more spacious backyards than any of the other houses in here. And that's just because they back up onto some big vacant land. And so the backyards, they're just more expansive. Some of those yards are sloped, some of them are more flat. It really just depends on which house you actually end up purchasing. We are driving to the very end of Legacy Heights. And the cool thing about Legacy Heights is that it's right next to this other newer development called Pringle Creek. Like, you can literally see it. You see those houses in front of you? That is Pringle Creek. And the road right now is blocked off at this cul-de-sac. I don't know if they have plans to open it up so that you can drive to and from the neighborhoods, but I see people walking in between both neighborhoods all the time. Right here on the left-hand side is a single-story Lennar-built home. And then we have some 2-story houses and then another single story. One of the great things about Legacy Heights is that they've preserved a lot of these big older trees that you see around here. Those are spaces that are not going to be developed. They have kept the greenways in this area, which is great because sometimes builders come in and they just like totally bulldoze everything and then there's no trees left, which we're Oregonians. We like and we need our trees. All right, we are driving up a little back alley. One unique feature of this community is that a lot of the houses have alley access, which just means that, you know, there's an alley on, or there's a garage on the back side of the house that you can get through this little alley. It's not like a street with sidewalks or anything. But that's nice because sometimes garages are ugly, and to have them on the back of a house can sometimes be a nice touch. But one thing that has always plagued me since my clients first started looking in this community is that if you're pulling up to the back of your house with this alley access, all of a sudden your back really becomes the front of your house because that's how you enter the house. And the backyard alley access, well, it's just kind of ugly. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you'll like alley access. Maybe you won't. Maybe I'm being too critical. But that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, these cutie patooties right here, these like little farmhouse styles, those houses are built by Stafford. Stafford is a local builder. Them plus Lennar are the two builders that came in and developed Legacy Heights. And then Stafford, they're the ones that are developing Pringle Creek. And then you have this water tower that you just saw. That's pretty cool. It's just an old relic of this area of town. I don't know if it functions or not, but it looks pretty cool. Again, you can see as we drive through here, this is the alley access that I was talking about. You have houses on either sides and then just garages that you can pull into. And so you don't have the garage on the front side of the house. Nifty. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of running out of stuff to say, so I guess I'll just talk about other things. I have had a massive uptick in people who are interested in this community, and I am not surprised because this community is one of the last affordable communities in the area that has houses that are under $400,000. Guys, that is just unheard of. So these houses are flying off the shelves super quick. What we're looking at right now is Stafford built townhomes. And so the one downside with this is like you don't have a front yard or a backyard. You do have alley access with the garage on the back. But if you're somebody who likes to garden, sorry, no dice for you. Those things in the distance there up front, those are all new apartments. So those are not houses that you can buy. They're not condos. They are apartments. And they have built up a whole heck of a lot of apartments. Y'all like how I just kind of like rolled through that stop sign? Okay, moving on. So this is on the right side is a vacant area. I've been told by the city that it's not going to be developed. I don't know if that is going to change in the future. At this point in time, it's just like a vacant area where people walk their dogs. The houses that I was griping about earlier with the driveways at the back and alley access, this is the front of the house. Like, the front of the house is dang cute, but nobody is going to be parking and driving their car up to the front of the house because their garage is on the back of the house. So nobody ever sees the front of their house, but it's really cute. And then right now, if I turned left, that would be Legacy Heights that I was pulling into. These houses on the left side are still the back side of those houses within the community. But this is the road that you would take to continue in and out of this neighborhood. This is also the road that you would take if you were to go into Pringle Creek. And so this is considered like the main in and out road of this community. And then fun fact, I can't remember what this road is called. I'm totally blanking. But fun fact, when you get to the end of it, that's where this one soy sauce brand is made, which I think is pretty cool because, like, how random. It's a huge soy sauce company and it's made in little old Salem. To the left here, we have an indoor gym or soccer arena, something like that. Oh, there it is, straight ahead. That's the soy sauce company. Okay, let's go jump on the internet and check out some houses. All right, so we are on the internet, and this funny squiggle here, that is my attempt at drawing an outline of Legacy Heights. So I have pulled up the past year of recently sold homes in Legacy Heights so that you guys can get a better understanding about price points, home styles, and a few other details. Now, as we go through this, you're going to see a few different styles of homes, and I want to make it clear that there are two predominant builders that have constructed Legacy Heights. So for example, this is a townhome that was constructed by Stafford. They are a local builder. They also constructed this one. But let me go back up here and point out this home right here was constructed by Lennar. And so there's two main builders. You really can see the difference in their building style. Again, this is a Stafford build. Stafford is also the builder who works in Pringle Creek, which is right here and next to Legacy Heights. They are not the same community, but they are very much connected in terms of like, let me zoom in here. Like this is a dead end, but it kind of cuts through. This is a dead end and it kind of cuts through. So those two communities are connected, but they are very different. So again, we have a limited inventory of single level homes in Legacy Heights. This is exactly what you're going to find for the single level living. And then two-story, we have a lot of variation in the styles for these two-story livings. Like I mentioned, some come with backyards, some do not. It is more rare to find a Legacy Height home with a backyard, and this one will have one. So there we go. Yeah, this one's got a big old backyard. But let's just go through here. Take a little look-see-loo. These are newer construction townhomes that are going up in Legacy Heights. These are super popular because check out that price. Like, it's very, very hard to find this size of a house in Salem under $400,000. So to have these being constructed is fantastic. The one downside with these townhomes here that was built by Stafford is that you don't have a backyard. Your front yard is limited to what you see right here, which is, they have grass now, but it's not really much of a front yard. And this one does have alley access, and so that means you don't have a backyard, but instead that's where your garage is. But these are some pretty cute houses. My clients really like Stafford built homes, Lennar homes as well. Oh, and that's it. We've run out of houses that have sold in the past year in Legacy Heights. But let's see, I want to look at this Stafford built home with you guys because this is really conducive to their style. Like, you know a Stafford built home when you see it. All right, so going through here, it's very common, front door, it just kind of plops you into the living space. Some of these homes, the biggest feedback that I get from my clients is that they're a little bit too tight feeling. And that makes sense because they are petite houses. And so, here we go. This is a great photo. So this is what alley access means. So you've got your garage here, and then this road right here is like a little alley between all of you and your neighbors, and your garage is right there. So you don't have a backyard. And it's not very common that these houses have fences in between, because at the time that these were being constructed, if you wanted to have a fence, you had to pay extra and it was considered an upgrade cost. And so a lot of people just didn't build a fence. And now there's not a lot of fences in this community. Let's see here. Let's take a look-see-loo in these townhomes. Like I mentioned, these are newer, like brand spanking new. They are selling incredibly quickly though, and I'm not surprised because the price point, I mean, it's just great. Pretty simple and straightforward, kind of depending on what you prefer in the layout of a townhome. You are either going to like Stafford layouts for their townhomes or not, but usually the first level living is going to be like your living space, your kitchen, and then upstairs is going to be up these little stairs here. That's going to be your bedroom. Let's go back and look at one more. Let's look at single level living in Legacy Heights. Okay, this is a Lennar build. I think this must have been built in, I'm going to guess 2022. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't say right off the bat. Okay, well, take my word for it. It was built 21 or 22. So this is very typical in terms of what you're going to find in Legacy Heights for single level living. This floor plan is like the floor plan. I think it actually might be the only floor plan for the single level living. And it's a great one because right as you enter the house, this is the front door here, it flows into the kitchen. You do have usually a little office space. You can't see it, but it's behind the kitchen on the other side of this wall, which is fantastic because we all need those home offices now. Some of them come with carpet, some of them don't. This one in particular unit does have carpet. Okay, yeah, super straightforward. I love these layouts because the bedrooms are kind of tucked into the back of the house. And this is what I wanted to show you was the backyard. So this is sloping and this backyard is actually butted up against the alley access for those townhomes that we were looking at. So this is a smaller, less functional backyard in this community. There are backyards that are much more flat and functional, but this one just happens to be, well, in a part that has limited backyard space. Okay, I guess that's all that you guys really need to see. This is a small community, as you can see here. Like, there's not very many houses. This area right here is where that Phase 5 new construction is being developed. And then this area here is where those cute little low $400,000 detached single-family homes that you could see when I was walking around, this is where they're located. And for certain reasons pertaining to how I can or cannot talk about houses that are currently listed, which is why I always show you guys sold houses. I can't show you the ones that are listed for sale right now without a whole bunch of hoops to jump through. So just know that this is like the edge of the Legacy Heights community. This is where that new construction is taking place. And if you're not familiar with like going online and looking at these communities and kind of poking around, I highly recommend that you do it because it's going to help you get associated with just the different areas of town and what you may or may not like. So let me zoom out here as a final little note and give you some context about this is downtown Salem. This is the Legacy Heights neighborhood. This is the Salem airport. This line right here, which is ever so faint, that is the railway. And, well, that's it. Shoot. If you like the Legacy Heights neighborhood and you're jonesing on it and you're like, fuck yeah, Clarity, get me into this neighborhood, hit me up, peeps. Earlier on, I was talking about giving you a sneak peek into the latest new construction houses that were going on in this neighborhood. And, well, here it is. This is Phase 5, the Fairview Edition. And while it doesn't look like much right now, it is going to be fantastic when it is completed. I personally am super excited to see that place developed. The builders of that addition, they are really known for creating not just a neighborhood, but really a community and having little micro parks and gathering spaces and playgrounds and doggy parks. So I'm really excited to see how it turns out. If you like this video, you're gonna wanna watch this one next. Bye, friends.